All right, everyone, welcome to this month's webinar, and today I'm going to be talking about the Golden Behaviour criteria. Now, this is essentially it's a three-step framework that you can kind of work through, and it's really to help you decide if an action, a behaviour, or a habit is the right one for you to focus your time and effort on right now. And the three steps are, firstly, can you do it? The second one is, does it work, or is it worth doing? And then the third one is, do you actually want to do it? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually break down each of those components and then kind of see when sometimes behaviors don't actually fit into this criteria and what we can do. Now, the first one is, can you do it? Now, this is very much a competence thing. So do you have the skills for it? Do you have the time for it? Do you have the resources available? And really, are you able to do it? Now, examples could be cooking skills. Sometimes if you look at recipes that are too hard to do, you probably won't be motivated to actually try and follow through with it. Do you have the time in your schedule to actually walk every day and get your 10,000 steps in? And also, is it realistic for you to be able to prepare fresh meals each day? Or is it better for you to maybe batch preps, so batch cook some things, like prep some things in advance? Or do you need to rely on some zero prep stuff or even something from a meal prep company? The second one is, does it work? Okay, so is there evidence to support if it's effective? Now, if it's a guidance from your coach at FNC, we can safely say it's effective and the evidence does support it. But if you've got this information from social media or from someone at work or a colleague or a friend, then maybe you actually do have to go into this section. So is it going to work? Is it evidence-based? And also, is it worth doing for where you are right now? Okay, will it actually move you towards your goals, and will it have an overall, I guess, net positive return on investment for your time? So we could look at things like supplements. Okay, so fat burners, okay, no, not really effective. We don't need to worry about those. But tracking macros, is it worth doing for everyone? No, it's not. Not everyone has to do it. And are high, low days in regards to high calorie days on some days and low calorie days on some days, is it effective or is it worthwhile doing for everyone? Probably not either. It might be having some benefits for some people, but not everyone needs to worry about those kinds of things. We then go into probably one of the most overlooked areas is, do you actually want to do it? Because if you don't want to do it, you probably won't do it. Okay, examples could be running. Okay, I don't like running. It's effective. Okay, it works. I can do it, but I don't want to do it. Okay, meal prep. Some people hate meal prepping. They don't want to eat the same thing every day for a few days in a row. Okay, or they don't want to spend 2 hours in the kitchen on a Sunday. Some people also, they may not want to focus on cutting back on alcohol, and that's okay. So if we look at a behavior and it doesn't quite fit the criteria of that you want to do it, that you can do it, and that it works, what you can try and do is go back to the list of behaviors that are still aligned with your goals that you can work on, because there's so many things that you can work on. Okay, if you have an FNC coach at the moment, they might have a list of behaviors that you can work on and start to slowly chip away at. So if you've, let's say for example, we talk about, we might say the cutting back on alcohol one. If you don't want to do that, you might focus on adding more water. You might focus on mindful eating. Okay, there's plenty of things that you can still work on. You might also be able to scale that task so it does fit. Okay, so let's say for example, you can't do focusing on 5 serves of veggies. You might break it down into having 3 serves of veggies, or find a complete alternative. Now let's go through some examples. Okay, so this first one is, you want to do it and it works, but you just don't have the resources or ability to do it. So it could be like a single mum of 2, wants to train twice a day whilst having a full-time job. Okay, may not be realistic. Okay, so if that's you, okay, if you have a goal that you want to do and works, but you can't do it right now, how can you scale it or try and find something that actually suits your goal and that you can do? Second one, okay, is you want to do it, you can do it, but it's not worth doing. Okay, so Steve from sales has mentioned that he's intermittent fasting. You want to try it, but you tend to overeat in the evenings. Okay, so for you, it's probably not worth doing. Okay, so what can you do instead to find something that's worth doing and that works for you? And then the last example is that you can do it, it works, but you don't want to do it. Okay, so yeah, meal prep is a way that you can save time and money whilst also ticking the boxes with your nutrition goals. However, you just don't like to do it and you don't like to eat the same thing every single day. So what can you do to find a suitable behavior that you actually want to do? Now, when the behaviors do fit, okay, they do fit this golden criteria of that you want to do it, you can do it, and it actually works, then the next step is to break that down into an action plan, okay? And that action plan looks like this. So what are you doing? Why are you doing it? When are you doing it? How are you doing it? Where are you doing it? And also how often are you doing it? So it could be, what are you doing? Mindful eating. Why are you doing it? To try and improve satiety, relieve symptoms of IBS. When are you doing it? At lunchtime. How are you doing it? Putting my phone away, eating away from the desk, chewing my food a little bit more, noticing 5 things about the meal. Where are you doing it? At the outside table away from the desk at work. And how often are you doing it? Doing it 4 times a week. Okay. Notice that I'm not saying you have to do it every single day at every single meal. You're breaking it down to a point where you can do it. Okay. It's actually manageable. So now you have an idea of the golden behavior criteria. You can see whether a fad or a diet is actually worth trying based on what you've ever heard or what you've read on social media. Okay. Let's say, for example, Kelly from accounting is doing keto. Oh, I was thinking about giving that a try. Well, does it actually fit into the golden behavior criteria? Okay. Do you want to cut out carbs? Is it worth doing? Sure, you can do it, but do you want to? Okay. If not, then let's find something that's more suitable for you. So putting this all into action. For a behavior to fit into the golden criteria, you have to be able to do it, you have to want to do it, and it has to be effective. Okay. If it doesn't fit the criteria, can you scale it or find an alternative? And when a behavior fits, create a clear and concrete action plan to implement it in a way that you are confident.